Hi, everyone. Welcome to The 60 Project, a podcast produced by Livewire Productions in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is a podcast about navigating our 60s. I'm Tracey Thomas, and I just finished my first film, a featured documentary called My First and Last Film, where I sought out to learn more about turning 60, talking to 60-year-olds, and dealing with the loss of my mother and my filmmaker partner and boyfriend, Dennis Peters. But even when I finished the film, I didn't feel like I was done interviewing people in their 60s. I wanted to learn more about what's next. And this is where the 60 Project begins, a podcast where I ask people about the big ones, about death, dying, love, loss, and about recognizing yourself even better with every passing day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another installment of the 60 Project podcast. We are still in a pandemic. It's May 2020, and hope everybody's doing okay out there. Got a nice day today, so get outside if you can. Social distance. Yeah, I think that's all I need to say on the pandemic. We all know what's going on there, but I just appreciate everybody tuning into the show every week. We have a new episode up every Wednesday morning. So please tell your friends. And again, thanks for tuning in every week. And I'll go over some more film stuff and podcast stuff at the end of the podcast. So I have a guest today. His name is Al. And Al and I have been friends for, I don't know how long, 6-7 years. Al might say longer, but and I know a little bit about this gentleman, and so I hope through this conversation today I can get to learn about him a little bit more. So, hi Al, welcome to the podcast. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Good morning, Tracy. It's actually my pleasure for being here. And yeah, I think we actually know each other over 10 years, but I wouldn't know the number beyond that. But yeah.
Okay, cool. And what was I going to say? I always want to ask my guests how they're doing in this pandemic situation. How are you doing over there?
Fantastic. It's
good.
Everything's good on the health outlook. So.
Okay, great. And you're still working, right? Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, 40 hours a week minimum.
Wow. And how is that going? Does it make you nervous to go into work or be out with people, or I don't know exactly what your job is, so do you want to kind of fill us in a little bit on that?
Oh, well, I'm a shipping receiving specialist and occasional machinist if they need help and stuff like that. Machining is my background, sales before that. Okay. But they funnel everybody who comes into the building through our department. And I had to laugh when they first did it because I'm like, you're sending everybody who could possibly be carrying Corona past the two oldest guys in the shop. But
Right. Wow. Does that make you nervous being there with everybody, and then do you go home and like, ugh?
Not really. We wiped down things a lot. For a while it was Clorox wipes, and then we ran out of those. So it's, Lysol and water. So every time somebody comes through the door, we wipe down the knobs and everything, anything we think that they touched. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy. So you just turned 60, didn't you? Like not that long ago.
A little over 2 weeks.
A little over 2 weeks. Well, I hope I said happy birthday on Facebook. I'm sorry if I didn't, but.
No, it's okay. I was kind of keeping it low key this year.
Yeah. And why is that? How do you feel turning 60? Was it looming large? Was it a big deal or not a big deal?
Not a big deal. It's just another day.
Really?
Yep.
How can that be?
The only thing that the gravity of the situation lately is when I do online shopping or something like that, or I have a full woodworking shop down in my basement. Okay. And I buy things, and I'm one day I looked and I'm like, hey, you got to stop buying stuff because you're not going to need this stuff as long as you think. So you know what I mean? So the gravity of the realization of, you're 3/4 of the way through your life. You've just entered kind of the winter, if you will, or you're completing the fall. Of your life, and you don't need to accumulate more stuff. You need to shed things. So,
wow, that's a good point. Yeah, because when I buy stuff, that's a really good point. Because when I buy stuff these days, it's like I got so much stuff here that a lot of it, probably like you and many other people this age, don't use it or aren't going to use it up, whatever it is. Like, I don't need to buy like, I don't know, like multiples of anything. I'm not,
Right.
Yeah. Wow. So you didn't have a problem with turning 60. Did you have a problem turning 50, or it doesn't?
No, age has never really been a factor for me. And as far as health goes, I'm blessed to be on only 2 prescription drugs. And bodily, I haven't had knee replacements or anything like that. So even my mentality is somewhere between, I'm guessing, 40 and 50 years old. So, like if you think you're old, then you become old.
Yeah.
I'm still youthful that way and young at
Yeah.
heart. And so I stay active, kayaking, biking, walking,
Yeah.
and
Right.
whatever. Although the past 8 weeks, not so much, but
Not so much. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think if you feel old, because how do we know what is old these? I think I said that in my film. What is old these days? I mean, our 60 these days is not the same as our parents when they were in their 60s. I don't think. I mean, so what would you consider old?
boy, I'm actually thinking 10 to 15 years past this, just because of my mentality. And yet I can look at people who are 60 and again they're acting old.
Yes.
And that makes them older.
Right.
I just think that our age group is more active. Although I can't say my parents weren't, I just think they became more sedate a little earlier, like in
Yeah.
their 60s and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, I know after my dad died, my parents were they weren't like exercisers or that, but they were active and had a lot of friends. And then when my dad died, gosh, probably a dozen years ago or more. And then my mom just kind of stopped doing everything. I think they were partners and they did a lot of stuff together. So she kind of went downhill and kind of
You
lost
lost your
a lot of
companion.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. My
Yeah.
mom's she's 88. She's going to be 89 this year in October. She's still fairly active, although I totally quarantine her to her home now, and I do her grocery shopping for her. But
Okay.
she's still actually in pretty good shape too. And we lost my dad about 7 years ago, I want to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you the only sibling? Do you have siblings? Are you the only sibling in town?
I'm the only sibling in town. I have a sister, an older sister, about 2 years older, roughly 2 or 3.
Okay.
I mean, what perspective there, for what time of the year. And she floats in between Chicago and Minneapolis because she has 2 daughters, one in each location. So.
Okay. So your mom's caregiver. Mom's in good health, you said.
She is, yeah. She's doing okay. And every now and then I take her out on a nicer day for a ride so she can get out of the house. But I don't know what it is. With age, I become more. I'm okay with being a homebody and doing stuff around the house.
I'm
So,
only laughing because I tend to agree, but this forced stuff is, if I want to self-impose it on myself, that's a whole different story, right?
right.
I
Right.
mean,
If you want to retreat from the public versus you can't go out and socialize with friends. Yeah.
right. No. And that's gotta be hard. It's hard for everybody, but it's gotta be hard for you because I know you're a big sports person and you get together with friends like for baseball, but I think mostly football. So that's gotta be a little bit challenging. We all have our challenges with this stuff, but there's so many different aspects of that. So the sports thing is probably a little mad.
Yeah, that's true. I do like that. I'm reunited with the Brewers over the past 4 or 5 years because the team's kind of turned around and ownership's changed. So
Yeah.
that's a big one for me. And of course the Bucks, who can't get on that bandwagon, but yeah, I'm a Packer guy through and through. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is. I got out kayaking about a month ago, and after our podcast today, I'm heading up towards Sturgeon Bay and gonna go hike around Cape Point County Park up there
Okay. Wow.
and stuff like that. So I'm finally gonna get out because things are lightened or released slightly
Right.
and do
Um,
stuff like that.
that's a long way to go. Are you going? You're going to stay overnight somewhere, right? Because that's a long way to go, just up and back today.
No, I'll do a day trip. That's not so bad. It's about 2.5 hours up and back. So it's 5 hours of driving and who knows, probably a couple hours of putzing around. So.
Well, good for you. I'm just kind of afraid to. I'm not super afraid, but just going to these parks with a bunch of people, and I don't know. You hear so much weird stuff. I don't know if I should be afraid or not afraid. I don't know. I'm just,
Well, I think this is like totally turned a lot of us into a germaphobe that we didn't think we had inside of us. I mean, I never worried about stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, when we were kids, you played in the dirt, you drank from a hose, you know, you didn't have electronics.
I know.
So your immune system was immensely
Right.
exposed to many things.
Right.
And nowadays, kids, I mean, when I was a kid, or when you and I were kids, you almost never heard of somebody who had a peanut allergy. And
Right.
nowadays,
Yeah.
many people.
Yeah, I don't understand that. And the cool thing is we're still here, Al. We're still here after playing in the dirt and walking barefoot by the creek, and you know, man, now it's like, oh, can't take my shoes off and walk in the park. It's like, really, but that's grounding. I feel like that's grounding.
Absolutely.
We're not allowed to ground anymore. I mean, the earth under your feet. It's like you know, hiking and all that. That's so important, don't you think?
Yep, absolutely. That, and you know, again, getting out, get the physical activity, get the sunshine. As I've gotten older, that can take a major toll. If we have 3, 4 gray days in a row, or rainy and gray, I mean, it's like
Oh,
I'm craving it. I mean, you could feel it. It changed your psyche.
it totally does. Like as soon as I woke up this morning, and it's like I can see it peeking through the sun, peeking through the blinds. It's like, oh my God, there's sun. I mean, it's overcast now, but man, that sun makes a difference. Last week on those gray days, oh, that was just like it does a number on your head.
Yeah, and then it's like, is this ever going to end? When's the sun coming out again?
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, we live in Wisconsin, so there's that.
true.
But I don't
Stick
know.
around 10 minutes, it'll change. But yeah,
It'll change, exactly. Exactly. Let's talk about when are you planning on retiring anytime soon? Now that you're
actually, yeah, unfortunately, oh God, it's holy crap! It's like 16 years ago. Got a divorce, and that's not financially usually detrimental, or it's detrimental to anybody financially in some way, shape, or form.
right.
And so my 401k took a hit later on, and blah blah blah, and I had to split it. So I'm going to work for another 7 years at where I'm at, hopefully. At least that's my intention. And then after that, I want to buy I'm going to do the van life and travel from
Oh,
national park to national park.
wow, good for you.
Yeah.
Like a what do they call it? An Airstream kind of thing, or just van?
No, just they have, you know, the bigger car, or the bigger contractor vans nowadays.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
I got my eye on one that where the roof actually lifts up, and it's got a rack on top for my kayak. I can throw the bike inside, so it's like, okay,
Oh, good
I'm
for
gonna go
you.
for it.
That sounds pretty amazing. And yeah, get to the national parks before they all close down.
Yeah, or we sell them off. Hopefully not, but
Yeah,
yeah.
right. So retirement to you does not mean sitting in a rocking chair and, you know,
Not at the moment. I'm gonna
not a-
borrow a line from. Like you said, I've lived a pretty good life. If something should happen now, or I should go, I'm good. I'm at peace with that.
right.
And I'll borrow a line from Joe Walsh. Was like, hell, I didn't even think I was going to live this long. Um, but no,
Well,
and I just I need to stay active. You know, I'm
yeah. 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 As long as we stay healthy, that makes a big difference. As we get older, it's like, you know, for the clarity of my brain, and I don't know, I just feel like if I'm healthy, I can obviously do more.
right.
Um, yeah, that sounds like a fun trip though. That
Yeah.
sounds like, now will you sell everything off and just do the van thing?
Yeah, I should think I will do that. Currently, well, I have a daughter who lives in Wisconsin, here in Brookfield area, and a son who lives in Oconomowoc. But then my oldest son and daughter-in-law live in Des Moines. So I thought I would just like get rid of everything somehow or another, and probably take some sort of a residence in like South Dakota for tax benefits.
Sure. Okay.
And then and actually kind of start out there and just start doing the national parks that I can, you know, that are on our continent.
Wow.
And hopefully I can hit Hawaii sometime in between now and then, just on a trip,
Yeah.
and catch those. But
That sounds like a pretty interesting way to do retirement. I mean, a lot of people, everybody has such different ideas of what retirement means to them. You know, like buying a house in Florida and they can play golf every day, or Arizona, that kind of thing. I currently don't have a retirement plan because I've been retired since 1998, so I'm doing it, I guess.
It's awesome. Yeah.
I know, right? Yeah. No, that sounds pretty amazing. And will you do that on your own?
Currently, yeah, that's kind of the plan. I mean, if I have a companion to do that with, that would be great too. But it, you know, like
Yeah.
everything has to mesh of both lives and
Right.
all that other good stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. I did a live broadcast last week, and I talked a lot about relationships and how that plays out as we get older and that kind of thing, and single and married. So um, I'm currently unattached, and it sounds like you are as well. Would you do you think it's important to have a person at this age, a companion, or would you rather just do everything alone and be on your own and independent? And I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's an important thing to have somebody in your life because that's somebody who's similar to you, who likes your same, you know, similar interests, and that keeps you active in those interests in case you do. Because let's face it, we all hit streaks of what do I want to say? Inactivity would be probably a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And we don't go out and pursue hiking or whatever. I mean, and snowshoeing, things like that. And I used to be more active in the winter. This year, not so much. But I intend to get more active because, you know, lately, because you're being so sedate with safer at home,
Yeah.
I can feel it a little bit in my joints. I need to get out there.
Yeah.
And I can feel it when I do start to do physical things now. That obviously sitting on the couch and watching whatever series on Netflix or Amazon or whatnot,
Right.
you know, the old muscles are atrophying a little bit, and they need to
Right.
get out and get active. So,
Right.
and for some reason, every time I get out of the stupid recliner, it's like, why do I have to make a noise while I'm getting up? But
That's awesome. What's that sound? Oh, wait, that's me.
yeah, those right. Those are the sounds of aging gracefully.
The sounds of aging. It sounds like a Simon and Garfunkel song. The sounds of aging.
Absolutely, yeah,
Oh, funny.
absolutely.
But yeah, being with somebody sure makes you maybe pursue your interests a little more. Have somebody to do something with, and you know.
Exactly.
Although I think I'm still going to do stuff on my own. I'm not going to wait around for anybody. But on the other
Right.
hand, like you say, it just is. It's much more enjoyable to
Yes.
do certain things with somebody, travel or go to a movie or whatever.
Right.
You're hiking and kayaking. I'm sure that's more fun with a companion.
Well, we usually, right. Usually, like today, I'm running up with a really great friend, and we're going to go up to Sturgeon Bay, like I said, and go to, and who knows what we'll do. But more than likely, the plan is for coming home.
Yeah.
But kayaking, I go out with the group that we normally go with, and in June, I'm going on a trip there. In July, my son and daughter-in-law from Iowa are coming up. We're going into the UP and doing 10-mile hikes and sea kayaking in Lake Superior. So in some ways I have to kind of get in shape for that too. So
Yeah, well, yeah, but boy, that's good that you have. I think it's important to have some stuff planned now in case things do kind of open up. I mean, I just don't know how that all works with these group outings and stuff. I mean, the distancing and I don't know, but you got to see your family.
well, the nice thing is like when you're kayaking, at least, you know, you've got at least roughly 6 feet. I mean, you can kayak next to each other, but you're pretty much just kind of gliding or sitting.
True.
But yeah, it's interesting how life has changed. I mean, let's face it, we were normal and then 9/11 happened years back
Right.
and nothing was ever the same again. And this is definitely going to take a different turn with all of us. So, and we don't even know what the new normal is going to be yet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's new normal. That's an interesting phrase. It'll be a different kind of a normal, and
Right.
we're not going back to it. And any kind of normal. We're going forward. Always going forward, no matter what happens in this world. 9/11, pandemics from years past, and other viruses and stuff. I mean, just keep moving forward, right? That's all we can do.
Well, and right. And to go backwards, you can't do that all the time either. I mean,
No.
it's just like business and things like that. I've heard people say the worst sentence in a business is, well, we always used to do it like this. Okay, but then those businesses are gone. So in your life, we
Right.
always used to do it this way. Okay, but that's not, perspectives totally changed. And so you, like you said, you have to move forward. So if you keep that mindset, you're doing good. So
Yeah, always forward because hopefully we learn from our past. The past, I think, is what defines where we are now, and where we are now could define our future. So if we haven't learned anything from back then, what we used to do doesn't mean it was always right or always great, right?
Right, correct. And like with this pandemic, and us being in the age range where, in theory, we would be most affected by this, I still felt pretty good about my immune system and whatnot. I'm rarely sick, and I can usually beat a cold to death in like 4 or 5 days,
Nice.
which is unusual slightly. But so I felt pretty strong. But again, I was main caregiver for my mom. A little worried about her. I have friends. My son, who's 29, has ulcerative colitis, and so with his treatments, he has a compromised immune system. So you worry about people who are younger than you, even, or friends who have more health issues.
Right.
And then you don't really worry about yourself because you're feeling in a pretty good place. So.
Yeah, and I think I'm sorry to hear about your son with his health issues, because I know someone who had that, and that's a rough road.
Thank you. Yeah, he had a flare-up just before Thanksgiving, and they got it under control, and he's had some steroid treatments, but he's doing pretty good, and he's pretty level-headed, and my daughter-in-law is really good at if should he want to stray too far, she'll like rein him in a little bit, so that's a good thing.
Good for her.
The wisdom of the women in your life.
There you go. The podcast is over. That's all we needed to hear.
Yep, there you go. Yeah. If there's one thing I learned, you should pay attention. Women are awfully smart and intuitive.
Well, thank you. I don't know. Everybody's smart in their own way. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Everybody's going on everybody's journey is a little bit different. And I don't know. There's some smart women out there, but not all women haven't figured out. That's for sure.
True. And certainly that's more than true for the guys. But anyways.
More than true for the guys. Oh my gosh. Do you have anything else? What else do you think about getting older? I don't know.
Not much. Again, not really out searching, or being comfortable with being at home and being more of a homebody. But this COVID-19 has got to drive people who are searching for a partner crazy, because obviously everything's either going to be online, you can't meet, or you don't want to.
Or you don't want to, yeah.
Yeah, because you're afraid of contracting the virus, or it's crazy. It's online dating has to be crazy. Not only that, that's not my favorite thing anyways, but
did you ever try the online dating thing?
I had profiles on probably 2 or 3 sites in my life, and now those are all gone. They've been gone for a while, and I have no intention of going back. So
no, same. I was on Tinder for a while, and I would kind of look at it every few days, and it's just like, I don't know. It just seems, maybe because of my age, it's like, really, that's how we have to meet people now? I don't know.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, and it's kind of funny because, again, I tried 2 or 3 of them, and you'd bounce from one to the other, and the same people would be on some of them, or you go back after some time, and the same people are still there with very few new ones. And it's kind of like, okay.
Right. It's just cycling through the same people, because you're right. I would see the same people. They will be gone for a while. Then, that person's back. It's like, okay, what does that tell you about who they are? It might tell you a little, like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah, right. Or either they're a cyclical dater or whatever, or it's just not working out for them, that's fate, that's life. But it's just like, okay, you know what? I just started to get to the point where if it finds me, great. If it doesn't, I'm good.
I kind of think so too. And I know this isn't, like you say, the ideal time to meet anybody. And it's, with the pandemic going on, it's certainly not a priority for me.
Right.
But I think it's one aspect of what's happening in the world right now, that it's making your life it's one thing that will make your life better, perhaps, if you want to make your life better in that way. That's just one little piece of how you take care of yourself, is getting a companion maybe and doing good things for yourself. And you know what I mean?
I would agree, right? And just
Yeah.
like it's like you said, to get out and do things with friends or a companion of some sort is much better than always going solo for some things.
Yeah. Because I think in our 60s, people tend to, like you say, be homebound more
Yeah.
and not have the energy to go do things, especially now. But I feel like, I don't know, I just really want to go see my friends now. I don't feel like me somehow without my friends.
Well,
You
yeah, I mean,
know?
I just got a haircut on Tuesday and it was great to see my stylist, for Pete's sakes. And I don't think my hair has been that long since the 80s, the early 80s, but yeah, just to get out and see people that you know and interact and
Right.
converse and
Yeah, it's
like
so
you said, the
important.
socialization.
Right. It's so important at any age, but as we get older, like I say, we tend to be homebound more and I don't know. It's just, I mean, that's been written about and talked about, that older people just tend to get more isolated because their friends have died or moved away or that kind of a thing. So it's like, well, like my mom, she was kind of that way. She just kind of secluded herself. It made me kind of sad. It's like she kind of just lost touch with all her friends, and a lot of her friends lived in Racine, which is where we were from initially, and she lived in Milwaukee. So it was hard for her to, well, I don't know, I don't want to. And I'm like, okay. So I felt bad for her.
I know that. It's just like my mom, all of her friends and bridesmaids and all that stuff, they're all gone now. She just recently lost a brother, younger brother. But yeah, it's getting to the point where I don't want to say the walls are closing in, but that's kind of the feeling, I'm sure.
Right.
That's like,
Right.
okay, and now your reality is that end of life is probably not as far off as you think.
Right. Well, as Dennis said in the film, or I don't think he said it in the film, he said more past than future. And that's true for us as well. People go, oh, you always talk about being old and like, well, when you hit 60, 65, let me ask you how you feel. I don't certainly dwell on it on a daily basis, but
Right.
it's there. It's more here than was 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, it's in the forefront, right? Well, even 40 years ago, when you're in your 20s, you never really even thought of that. I mean, if
Right.
you had a friend or something that had a tragic accident or something like that, then that's what that was. It wasn't a normal end of life expectancy.
Correct. Right. It
So
was.
now, and by the way, that's right. I remember, and now that you mention it, I love that line from Dennis.
Yeah,
More,
more
yeah,
past than future.
yep, love that.
And you have to pay attention to that, because I mean, and he passed away at 59, and that was unexpected. I mean, he wasn't a young man, but he wasn't like you say, what would be a normal, when you're 70, 80, that might be a more normal age for, it's age expected kind of thing.
And I believe that's our generation is right. The life expectancy is somewhere in between 70 and 80-ish,
Yeah,
so.
right. Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about, like, how long do you want to live? Is that important to you? Like, you want to live to get to,
Ooh.
some people want to live to be 100, or is that
I
important?
actually was thinking about that the other day, and I thought, no, if I did, that'd be great. But if my quality of life's not there, then, I just don't want to do that, and I don't want to be a burden on people.
Right.
So it's like, okay, if I can be mobile, if I can be active. I mean, like I said, my mom's going to be 89 this year, and she moves around. The friend I'm heading up to Sturgeon Bay with today, her mom is 92, I think, and she's in an assisted living home, maybe similar to like your mom was, but
Right.
and she's moving around and whatnot. But and right now they're confined to their apartments.
Yeah.
So that's crazy because now think about being in
Right.
like a two-room situation. Oh my God,
Can you imagine? No.
not right now. No.
I don't know. I mean, it could be us, but I mean, in a perfect world, that's not where I want to be, but I might not be able to help that. I might need some care, but
Right.
I feel like there's got to be a better way.
Well, and certainly if the mental faculties aren't there in
Right.
and through Alzheimer's or dementia,
Right.
that's going to be a major limiting factor, obviously.
Right. And that's what both my parents had, is dementia. So they were not able to live at home on their own. And when my dad was first diagnosed, it was kind of not talked about a lot and kind of new. So we were scrambling to try to figure out where to put him and what the best route of care would be. And it was really kind of challenging back then.
Right.
Maybe a dozen years ago. So it was like brand new to us. So we didn't really know what to do or where to go or who to talk to. It was really kind of awful. So he didn't last very long. My mom, on the other hand, she lived to 90. So, but I don't know. It was.
Well, that's interesting, the similarity. My dad had Parkinson's, and apparently not that bad, but I didn't really know what to compare it to. But he had enough with the tremors and things like that, and he ended up falling. And prior to that, no dementia and whatnot, but apparently the injuries to the body at that age, and he was,
right.
he'd be 92.
Yeah.
If he was alive this year, and that will bring on dementia of some sort. The injuries will, and then as the injuries heal, that'll diminish, but not necessarily. And we had to put him in a care home for rehabilitation and whatnot, and physical therapy, and he hated it, and he didn't last long, unfortunately. But
yeah,
he wanted to go home.
Right. Oh. Yeah, and I think my dad had Parkinson's and then got dementia. You're right. I think that's how that came on. But yeah, when we put my mom in the facility, she's like, they said, what you have to do is don't prepare her for a couple weeks, just the day before, tell her she's moving. We're like, really? Because otherwise they would fight it and argue. And so we did that, and she was furious with us.
Oh,
furious. And we left and we're crying. We went and had a couple of drinks at Conitos, and we're like, ooh, it was just this brutal, brutal day. And, but a week later, she was running the joint. She was like the cruise director. She's having fun. And she's like, because she'd been living alone for so long.
Well, right.
She was with people. Obviously, her dementia wasn't very advanced back then. She was at a stage where she needed to be somebody around her all the time. But, so she was making friends and joining in on the activities. So she was having a ball. We're like, okay.
Yeah. And some people will embrace that and some won't. They're just, some people are more like loners, and they could still live in that facility.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
They just limit themselves to activities because they're more introverted. That's all.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. My mom fell last year and fractured her arm, and she had to go into a facility for physical therapy. And yeah, she latched on to people right away, and boom, she had friends and whatnot. But she still wanted to go home. So, but she is still in her home. So, at that age,
that's good. Because I don't know, I would certainly. I feel like I would want to live on my own. If there's all these articles and things about these women buying big mansions, and we all live together and take care of each other, and I don't know. I'm so used to being on my own, Al, for the last, 17 years. It might be a challenge for me to live even with other women. But I guess if I had my own apartment or something, my own little tiny house maybe, and we're all in the same compound.
Well, it would be back to communal living of the 60s and 70s. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And in a way, it does have, if they're all your friends, that's an interesting concept. Whereas you go into a facility now, and you may not know anybody there.
Correct.
So that's not necessarily bad for people like you and I who could strike up conversations. But for the people who are more introverted, that's a tough transition.
Right. I agree. So, yeah, I don't know. I just wish I had a crystal ball to see what that's going to look like, because I'm kind of on the fence. It's I want to stay on my own, but it would be nice to have people around if you just want to have a cup of coffee with somebody in the morning, and I don't know, or go hang out at the beach in the afternoon with somebody. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes though, I think the unknown is sometimes it's better not to know. in some cases, it would be interesting if we be getting glimpses. I mean, it's like when you have a dream of some sort, and all of a sudden you're out one day, and you get deja vu. Because it's like, okay, years ago I dreamt this, but you can't put it into a time frame.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
interesting. So
No.
I guess
Yeah,
maybe that's our little crystal ball for the moment or whatever.
for the moment, it's a little dim, but like you say, maybe, which forces us perhaps to live in the moment. I mean, we should be
Which is the
living,
best place to be,
which is the
actually. Yeah.
best place to be, because why would you not want to be? But
Right.
I think with this pandemic, it makes us think about, we certainly have more time to reflect on our past and think about the future, but which could be dangerous, like you say, could be dangerous to think about the future. I mean,
True.
um,
And reflection is usually a good thing, and healthy for you. But, in some cases, again, with the morbidity of what they were projecting with the models, and of course, now we know the models, I don't want to say were flawed, but they didn't have the information they needed to actually create a correct
right.
model. A lot of us were sitting there going, well, if it affects our age group and up, we had to actually look at mortality a bit.
Exactly. True. Exactly. How can you not look at it? Because of it's
Exactly.
all around us right now. It's all around us anyway, but now it's, you know, it's a little more, there's so much of it that, and whether it's media induced or not, and don't ever anybody like send me hate mail or anything, but I mean,
Yeah.
media play, has a big part in making us all crazy and thinking the worst. I mean,
Agreed.
obviously I'm not diminishing the severity of what's going on in the world
No,
today.
I understand that, but
Right.
yeah, absolutely. Well, just like, we went from COVID, all of a sudden we jumped to murder hornets. And to be honestly, the likelihood of that, I read an article from an entomologist at UW
What the hell?
Madison, and it's the chances of it hitting the Midwest and our area here in Wisconsin is way off.
Really?
You and I may be
What?
long gone by the time that happens, if it even happens. So
I don't even know what that, I've paid very little attention to that. What is a murder hornet? What does that mean?
it's a large hornet that lives primarily in Japan area, and 50 people a year are killed by it. Its stinger can actually go through a bee suit. It's that long, and the venom's very whatever. But
Oh,
and it'll decimate hordes of them, or swarms of them will decimate honeybee hives by decapitating the honeybees. And so that's what people are worried about, because obviously we have the honeybee problem with pollination and stuff like
right.
that.
Yes.
But how the press will sensationalize many things. Um,
Yeah.
and then later on they retract statements, or another article comes out. It's like even this COVID thing. It's like, okay, don't wear a mask, now wear a mask.
I know.
It's and it's like you throw your arms up and it's like, can somebody just tell us what to do here?
Well, and that's the maddening part, is because it's all this uncertainty is what's cuckoo. And I think everybody, and it changes, like you say, from week to week. There's something new, which is fine, but that's what's making everybody a little crazy, because there's no absolute answers or
Correct.
facts or a lot of stuff. So you just have to take care of yourself. It's really all you can do is take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
I mean, I can only control what I'm doing and my own reactions and my own health, and
Yep. Environment and so on. Yeah.
yeah, all the other stuff is so out of my control, and I feel bad for people that I don't know are living in such fear. I have a little bit of fear, but I'm not going to let it take me down. It's not how
Absolutely.
not how I want to go out.
It does. You know what? I'll tell you, for a while there, and now that it's relaxed, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
But for a while there, I actually went from weekly grocery shopping for my mom and I to bi-weekly, to stay out of the stores, because people weren't necessarily paying attention. And
Right.
yeah, and I don't want to take this to her. I'm not
Correct.
as worried about myself, but I don't want to take it to her. And
Exactly.
so it's amazing. We all got a little bit of Howie Mandel on us, that awakened that we didn't even know was there, or monk, if you will. Yeah, but the germaphobe, and but yeah, it's before you go somewhere now, you think about whether or not you need to. And even as we get older, like you and I were saying about accumulating things that we'll never use up, or we don't really need. Um,
Right.
the determination between a want and a need is way different than 10 years ago, even.
Right. It certainly makes you think about your space on the planet, and how you take care of yourself, and a lot of good reminders there. I mean, I did stock up on food a little bit, but I think that goes from way back. I don't know, but. And I actually did buy an article of clothing the other day because, I just got really sick of buying just groceries and household items. So I thought I'm going to treat myself to a little article of clothing. Just
Absolutely.
One thing.
You know what? Thank God for online shopping in a way,
Well, yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I
And it
mean,
gets delivered. Hey, you don't even have to worry about
you
things
don't
like
have to go. But on the other hand, I don't want to live like that forever. I don't want to live behind a computer screen my entire life and not because, in the beginning of this, I would say to people, like, it's all you think about is getting your hair done and your nails. But now as time marches forward, I'm thinking it would be nice just to do those regular things without being, oh my God, I'm so afraid. I mean,
correct.
Again, I'm 65. I made it this far. I mean,
You got a long ways to go. Don't worry.
I appreciate that. Now, how long do you think I have, Al? What does your crystal ball say?
Oh, good God. My mom, when my dad passed, my mom's like, how long do you think I'll be around? I'm like, Mom, you don't even have to worry about it. You're going to be at least 10 years or better. And I think we're approaching that now. So and she asked me the other day and I said, don't even worry about it because you're going to be around for a while. Because she's in great shape, like I said.
How's her mental acuity going?
Pretty good. Her hearing's not as good. Well, we could be sitting 6 feet apart in her TV room when I'm visiting her. And when it was Brewers season last year, I'd say Brewers aren't doing all that great this year, or not last year. And I'd get no response. And like 30 seconds later, she'd look at me and go, Brewers aren't doing all that great this year. like I threw a subliminal thought into her head. So it's kind of interesting. And
that's awesome.
But it's kind of fun. But other than that, like I said, her mental faculties, pretty good. Once in a while, it's like, okay, but then I'm sure we all have moments like that. So.
Yeah, we do. I feel though, like if I take good care, like I said before, if I take good care of myself, I'm good to go.
Exercise the mind again, and like for me, when we had the cold, damp rain, or when Mother Nature was teasing us, and then she'd throw us back into the 40s and 30s and whatnot, and it's like, okay, I'm not as I'm bothered more by that now as I get older, whereas I don't want to venture out into that. Whereas, now that temperatures are starting to normalize, now I'm anxious to get active.
Yeah. Good for your joints and moving around and get the blood flowing and circulating and all that. I know you have your retirement plan is to get in your van and go. Are you going to, you say you're going to settle in one place, like because a lot of people want to retire to a warmer climate. You're going to retire, going to have a place in somewhere warm, did you say?
No, well, I just intend to kind of keep moving. And when it's more winterish and whatnot, I'd probably stick to the south and southwest.
Yeah.
As far as traveling that. And then when it warms up, like we're heading into it now, right, I'd be more inclined to head up into the northern part of the country.
Okay.
Of the United States and tour those. I'm sure that some of the winter beauty is really great in some of the national parks, but again, while I don't mind it, I'm not inclined to venture into that as I get older.
Yeah, I'm not a winter person, so, but like the Pacific Northwest is beautiful, and
Exactly.
Yeah, there's so many beautiful places to see, and I can't wait to get back to traveling again because I'm missing that.
I'll bet.
That's really doing a number on me because I'm just now starting to get the itch of like doing my little summer traveling and planning for the fall and the winter, and
sure.
I'll do what everybody tells me to do. It's good, but until I feel comfortable, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, and I love to fly and stuff like that, but over the past 20 years, getting off a plane, you shower, you go and you hop on the plane to wherever you're going, and then you get off the plane, it's like, man, I feel like taking a shower. And now that's going to magnify it, this whole situation here. I've had friends that just went down to Florida and whatnot, and they were taking pictures on the plane. not so many people wearing masks and things like
Right.
that. And it's like, okay, all right.
I know. Well,
But I
it's
get that, I get the claustrophobic feeling. I mean, between this year and next year, I'd like to go kayaking on Puget Sound, and hopefully an orca will surface near me.
wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I may have the bejeebers scared out of me, if you will. But life experiences. So,
Life experiences. We got to, like, as we said earlier, we got to keep moving forward. Got to keep doing stuff we've always liked to do. I mean, when we're able to, but that's what keeps us young. Keeps us active and keeps
absolutely.
us interested in, like you say, life experiences. Um, because when you're younger, you don't think so much about life experiences. You're all about yourself and dating and, blah, blah, stupid stuff like that. But now, this time in my life, I'm wanting to do more traveling and meet people and those cool life experiences that you can take with you. And
Absolutely.
that's more important to me now than it was obviously 30 years ago.
I want to skydive again probably this year, and I want to get back into scuba diving. And I'd be ultimately, when I go out west, some of those, I'd love to do base jumping.
Really?
Yeah, it's my, how do I say this? I think my fear of things has diminished, and it's like, just
Oh my
go
God.
for it,
Just go for it.
just do it. Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive. I knew you were an adventurer, but I didn't know you were, a, a little more risky than I thought. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, well, it's
Really
again,
is.
you only die once, but you live every day. And if you
Right.
stop living, then you're, I don't want to say, then you're in the glide mode to the final. And I don't want to be that. I want to stay active as much as I can,
Yeah.
as long as I can. And you might as well, if you can do experiences, do it. Again, like visiting the national parks, hopefully hiking. If not, if you can't do that, maybe you're doing Jeep tours to be able to see them and things like that.
Right.
So while I still can, and while I'm active and fit as much as I am right now,
Right.
I need to do these things that I think would be fun, you know?
Before you can't do them.
Exactly. Before you're limited physically.
Right. Because remember back in the day with our parents and even before them, and people, the whole idea of life back then, and maybe for some people it's that way now, is you live, work, and then you work just to retire to do that, which is kind of what you're doing, but you've always been active. So it's not like you're just like, okay, now you've always done those kind of trips and things is what I'm hearing. So, but I think for a lot of people, it's like they wait so long to live their lives. And then when they get to that retirement age and have all these plans, and it doesn't last very long or something.
Well, and
So,
again, the time frame is limited. So,
yeah.
if you aspire at the age of 20 to visit all our national parks, you have a long time frame in theory to do that. I
Okay.
mean, take a look at it. Okay, if you did that in your 20s, we've had 40 years to do it. Now, if I aspire to do that, I've seen several, a fair amount of national parks, but I'm
Okay.
certainly not at 50% at this point. Um, I have the life expectancy, well, we could be gone tomorrow. So I have less time to do that and to see our beautiful national parks and things like that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, the time is much more compressed.
When you were younger, did you think this way, that active and did you think about when you're younger, in your 20s, like getting older and I don't want to sit around when I'm older? Or is this kind of like in the
I
last?
just think it's an ongoing mentality that I've always had. I've always been active doing something, enjoying sports like that. Scuba diving again, that's something I took off in my 20s.
Yeah.
And then you have a family, and so you like ultimately end doing that for quite some time. And I still have a lot of the equipment that's viable and it's in great shape. And I'm like, okay, at this point, I should get back into it. So, because it's something I really love.
Yeah.
So I guess I've always been active
Yeah.
in doing one way, shape, or form some sort of outdoor activity.
Yeah, you
So,
weren't sitting around waiting for life to, like,
oh
oh,
well,
I should do this, I should do that, like a lot of people do. And then as we get older, it's like, oh, I better hurry up and cross all this stuff off the list. I better look at
yeah,
my
but
list again.
on the other hand, I know I'm certain your folks were the same way, and mine were too. They're like, it's nice outside. Get out of here. Go outside and play.
Right, for sure.
You know, and so you'd find your friends on the block and you'd do whatever. And every summer when we were in the age group of 13 to 15, we gathered at somebody's picnic table and we were doing board games, but we were outside, or we would, you know, frisbee, you name it, you know, and later on biking down to the lakefront and getting in trouble and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that was fun. The getting in trouble stuff was fun. But yeah, my mom would open the door and say, get out of here. And it was like, you know, 8 a.m. and we would come back at, 5 o'clock.
Right.
When it's getting dark out, it's like, God, I would hang out, like I say, by the creek, and I don't know, I would meet up with friends like in a park and listen to music, and
at night it was like be home when the streetlights come on.
Yeah, it was so easy. We walked everywhere, miles everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and the climate was different at that time as far as safety. It wasn't as much of a concern as it can be these days.
Yeah. Man, because I graduated from high school in 72. It's like forever ago. And I mean, we just walked I walked to my high school, which is like a couple miles away. And we just walked everywhere. Like I say, hung out in parks, hung out in the record stores, and just sit in the park and talk and just shoot the shit. And man, it was it was so much easier. Oh. And we would just meet at clubs. We weren't old enough to be at the clubs, but someone would let us in. And it was like, oh man, those are the days. Those are the days.
Yeah. And then at times you as you got older, you probably got on your bike to get a little bit farther until you were able to drive and had access to a vehicle or had your own. And then after that, life just took off. So, but it was always there. I mean, you think that once you get to drive, you can go so many more places. But as a kid, if you think back, you did a lot of stuff. Right. You walk to the creek, or like my high school was 2 miles away. So of course, uphill both ways. But we walked to school every day. Right. Didn't think about it. The only time you didn't was when the weather was extremely inclement or it was downpour raining. Right. I mean, you just did it.
You just did it, and I remember just walking home from school and just stopping along the way to I don't know, look at something in the street or pick up a stick or just talk to people. It was just it would take me hours to get home sometimes because I'm just meandering along the way. I'd stop at the drugstore and have a milkshake and.
Yeah, or pick up a candy bar or something, or kick a stone for 2 blocks and then you lose it or something like that. And,
man, wasn't that fun?
Yeah, a lot of stuff,
Damn it. Now, those are some good memories. Thanks for.
Not a problem.
That was it was so easy. But I didn't think about getting older or what's going to happen or what will I be doing and what will my career be. Don't know.
Well, and in the passing of life or death, if you will, or to be exact, that wasn't on your mind unless an older relative passed away. Right. Some sort. So, and even then it was a fleeting moment and you respected the life, did your visitation and said goodbye to the person. And then boom, the next day you were just off and running again,
Yeah. Right.
Whereas now I think at this age, you dwell on it a little bit more because like you said, more is in the past than the future. So let's face it, it's out ahead of us somewhere.
And now it's us facing that, and some of our friends are getting ill and passing away or moving, I don't know. It's just I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know. I was thinking today, for some reason I was thinking about this today. I think I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about it. I was thinking maybe I should call my attorney and make sure my will is in order or something. I don't know, with this pandemic and shit, I just started thinking in that weird way. I don't know. I think everything's in order, but it just kind of came across do I have to do that now?
The last will I had was when I was married, and so that one was voided process, and I haven't made one since. So, I got to do the same thing. I thought about that about a year ago, and then I put it off. And I'm trying to think. I had a wellness exam with my doctor in December. And he's like, do you have your end of life paperwork made out, in case something should happen to you? Do you have a DNR and I'm like, no, send it. But I don't recall them sending it. So I'll have to call the office one of these days and say, hey, send that paperwork again. And it'll sit on my desk till I probably throw it out and I won't fill it out again Like, no, I've done that in the past, but it's at this point in your life where you need to do these things,
Right.
So that the people who take care of what happens after you leave
Right.
have some sort of idea, or they're not sitting there just without a clue.
Right. I mean, yeah, because you have to give some people a little bit of a direction, and I think I'm pretty good. It's all set up, but every few years I like to tweak it a little bit.
Sure.
Take some people out, put some people in.
There you go.
I'm kidding. Sorry,
No, that's all right.
relatives, you're all still in, so don't piss me off.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. But you're right. After I got divorced, things changed, and I had to redo everything because it was now just me. So,
Right.
So, but I think I probably should tweak it though. I should probably have a phone conversation with my guy and just see where it's at and see if he thinks I should tweak anything. I don't know. It just kind of feels like something I should be doing right now.
Well, yeah, and that's funny. Every now and then when my son and daughter-in-law visit, I just kind of look at them and say, hey, someday all of this will be yours, including all that crap in the junk room. But
right.
He's like, yeah, thanks, Dad. For that part. All the rest is kind of like, yeah, I can do that woodworking equipment stuff. So blah, blah, blah. But
well, and do you live in a house or in an apartment?
I live in a townhouse with a full basement. So yeah.
Oh, you have a full basement?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of nice. All my workshop's down there, and I have everything from woodworking equipment to a welder.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's right. Because you've Al is a handyman. He's fixed a few things in my condo in the last several years. So everything's still holding up, Al. It's all good. But I'm always looking.
Unlimited guarantees on the workmanship. But anyways.
It comes at a fair price, but yeah, there's no guarantees.
Yeah. No, I'll guarantee it.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm always looking for like a new place to move to because I have this giant condo and it's just me and, always forever cleaning it out from time to time and decluttering. But it's like, I don't know. I just don't feel like I know where I want to be in the next couple of years. I know I want to be somewhere warm, but I think if I knew where that was, I would be there already. I don't know. I just feel like somewhere is better.
Yeah, in the southeast, it sounds great and everything, but then it's humid, and then the southwest can get dry and blastedly hot. So I think if I did, I would. Well, and you don't have to worry about hurricanes like the east coast of Florida. But I think I would gravitate if I thinking about it over the years towards the southwest. But I would want to be in the foothills of the mountains where it's not in the dead of summer. It's not like Death Valley.
Right.
And blastedly hot. So I want to.
Yeah, that would be no fun. But I would like to be near an ocean. That's my thing. I want to be near an ocean, but that doesn't mean it has to be Florida or California. There's other places that have oceans, right? So
sure,
I need to explore that. I just always feel like, and maybe this is incorrect, because all my friends and family have been hearing me say this for like, a dozen years, that I want to move. And I never move. I've been here for 17 years or 14 years in this condo. But I just have this is always nagging at me that I feel like I should move. Like I feel like I need a change. I don't know what that is, or if I should quit listening to it and just accept where I am and just, if I'm going to move, it'll present itself in the right manner. I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to force it. What do you think about that? Should I force it anymore or not?
Well, and again, doing some work at your condo from time to time, I know you've kind of reinvented some rooms and whatnot to give you that ability to kind of change the environment.
Right.
And that makes a difference too.
Especially now.
Yeah. And so that makes, I think when we do changes like that makes us more acceptable and more, what do I want to say here? It just gives us a change of pace in our living environment.
Yeah.
And so it renews your, or staves off that thought in your head that goes, maybe I should move.
Yeah.
And find something smaller or a different location or warmer,
right.
or for whatever given reason.
For sure.
So I remember when the wall behind you was all white and everything.
Right? I thought about that the other day. It was like, this whole place was white. It's like, it's boring.
Yeah. And now look at your spiral staircase. It's got a great color there. You got the wall behind you and your artwork there and the furniture is just nicely done.
Thank you thank you very much. And I don't mind change. A lot of people don't like change. I'm okay with change. So I think every once in a while I need a change. And I feel like moving, I think, will be a good change. I mean, this place is familiar and it's good. I just feel like I need a new change, a new challenge or something. I like to be challenged a little bit. So if I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's like anybody out there has an idea for me or set me on the right path. I'm open to hearing it.
And I think you can be happy where you're at. I think, like I said, part of this, I think, just knowing you, is you've lost the ability to freely travel, and you do trips from time to time. You did go down to the Southwest or whatever, even now traveling with your movie. So, and that's got stopped because you were doing appearances that way, and that's interesting. But I think if you got out there and you satiated some of the travel needs, then coming home is always a familiar and welcome place. So
it truly is.
Where right now you're somewhat claustrophobic, like a lot of us are.
A lot of us are. And I'm not minimizing anything that's going on in the world, but it does. And, friends of mine are moving and getting new houses and doing this and that. And it's like, I want to do that too. Maybe that's all it is. I don't know. I just have to, I don't know. It's always in the back of my mind that I want to, travel more, like live in France for 3 months and then go live in Spain for 3 months and then go live over there for 3 months. I don't know. Would that be cool?
Well, see, that's my reason for the thought process with van living.
Okay.
Thinking, you know what, if it's me and I can make my own meals and whatnot, or I can eat out if I want, but I can go from state to state and
you can pick up and go when you want.
Exactly. It's just like, okay, it's been raining here for 3 days. I'm getting out of here. It doesn't look good for the next week. I'm going to travel to somewhere where it's a little bit more sunny, hopefully.
That independence thing. I mean, there's a lot to be said for that independence thing. I mean, and if you go with a partner, it's got to be the right person.
Yep. Right? Otherwise, they get tied to the roof rack.
Right. And then you can't say, get out.
Right.
In the middle of the Grand Canyon. Get out. Bye-bye. This isn't working for me. Get out.
Yeah. I don't think, some people could possibly do that. I don't think anybody I know could possibly do that. But.
No. Well, I'm going to look forward to hearing, 7 years from now, you have this all planned out and what your route's going to be. It's going to be interesting. Good for you. It's pretty exciting, actually.
Well, there's a lot to be seen out there. I mean, I was looking at it when I went out to, wasn't this last year, the year before, to Cleveland, to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's a great place.
And Ohio has one national park, Cuyahoga, and went there and experienced not a lot of it, but one of their main waterfalls and stuff like that. And so it's just like
Cuyahoga Falls. Cuyahoga Falls?
Brandywine Falls in Cuyahoga National Park.
Okay.
And then we did a little bit of, putzing around there at some of the sites. So it was interesting. But just to see, again, the beauty of all our different states,
and the people you meet and experiences, and you learn a lot about yourself along the way, and right?
See a lot of things. See a lot of different people and how they interact. And
right. See what you're made of.
Exactly.
See what you're made of. That sounds kind of nice. Can't wait.
And then I can go watch the people who are goofy and they stand next to buffalo in Yellowstone Park, like I've seen them do before, and hopefully the buffalo don't attack, gore them to death. But I actually saw that happen. 2 people put their arms around the head of a bull bison, and I'm thinking, are you crazy? But
because they thought did they get hurt or anything, or
no, but they could have been seconds from that. But
Well,
people following a grizzly bear down into a valley in Yellowstone, and there's a ranger up on the road screaming his lungs out because he's having an aneurysm because these people are following a potentially dangerous animal, and she had cubs, so even worse. But
sure, trying to protect her cubs.
Yeah, kind of like, what are you thinking? But anyways.
Yeah, people. Well, as we know, Al, a lot of people are kind of dumb. I don't know.
I
People
think as I
are,
get older, my ability to tolerate people with less common sense is diminishing, unfortunately.
oh, I totally agree. I can't be around, I can't have negative people in my life or people that don't add any value to my life that are,
Agreed.
like you say, they're just kind of not using common sense. And I mean, I don't know. And you don't really need a lot of friends. You need just a small group of really awesome, high quality friends. I mean,
Absolutely.
I don't need a gajillion of them. I need just a handful. And I have that. So I think I'm doing pretty good. I don't know. What is that called? Don't suffer fools gladly? I don't know. I can't.
Something like that.
Something like that. I don't know. Something like that. Um, well, I think this is a good place to say thank you to Al for being on the show. It was a great conversation.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, I'm so glad, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day and go get on the road and go do your weekend traveling and kayaking. Are you going kayaking? Did you say or hiking?
No, hiking. Probably doing some hiking or walking, and yeah, just get out and whatnot, and then beat all the traffic home. That's the reason for going out and coming back today.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate taking the time, and again, thanks for a wonderful conversation. And when this all lifts, let's get together and have a chat in person. How about that?
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan.
Great.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
I will. Thanks. And thanks everybody for listening. Another installment of the 60 Project podcast. And I just want to let you know, stay tuned for our summer digital tour. More details to follow. Peace, love, and compassion. We'll see you, everybody. Bye-bye.